ladies. Welcome to Stocks, Bonds, and Cocktails, presented by 2190. I am your host, Marsha Barnes, founder of the Finance Bar. I am all about giving women the financial guidance and tools they need to grow their wealth. I'll be speaking with some of my favorite boss ladies in the financial industry. You all are going to get some amazing advice, I promise. And we'll get to taste some delicious cocktails from our friends at Patron during this series. Okay, grab a notebook, grab a cocktail, and let's get this started. Hanging with us today is Pinky Cole, founder and owner of Slutty Vegan Atlanta, founder and owner of Bar Vegan. And we're going to talk to Pinky today about how she built this, how she scaled her business, and everything in between. So I want you guys to make sure that you tune in and listen up, because Pinky is a certified boss and I want to learn all from her. Pinky, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm happy to be here, and I'm even more honored that you guys chose to do this at Bar Vegan. It feels good to know that we can create an ecosystem, and I'm a part of that ecosystem.
Well,
so
what you've created, Pinky, is amazing. I'm sure that you have a lot of fans. I've learned so much about you. Besides what you built, all of your give back to the community is so aspirational. While our amazing mixologist, Brittany, is creating a drink for us, I want to start, Pinky, with how were you inspired? I know that you're inspired by your mom, right? Mm-hmm. Someone that you went to school with. Mm-hmm. Tell us all about that.
Well, inspiration came from me from the day that I was born. A lot of people don't know this, but the day I was born and getting my freedom, my father was being sentenced to life in prison, right? So a lot of my inspiration came from both my mom and my dad, but especially my mother, because I watched her work 4 jobs every single day. Mm-hmm. I watched her get up in the morning and leave me at home with my siblings while she made sure that she made money so that we can have lights on all the time, so that we can always have food on the table, so that we can have all the things that we may need, probably not the things that we wanted, but all the things that we needed and the necessities my mother made sure to provide. So when I think about inspiration, I think about working hard and having that upper level of integrity and moving with character. Like I got that from my mom. I can remember when I was 14 years old selling candy, frozen cups, selling McChickens. I was the biggest party promoter as a kid, but I learned that from the consistency of my mother. I also learned that from my father. My father was behind bars, telling me about business, telling me about stocks, telling me what books to read. And because of that, it really gave me that level of inspiration that I can do anything that I put my mind to. There is nothing that I can't do. And I believe so much in myself. So I use those inspirations to really do all the things I do now. And that's from Slutty Vegan to Bar Vegan to the foundation to doing movies and documentaries and a whole plethora of things. But that is where the inspiration comes from.
Where does the vegan part come from? Did you grow up vegan? Well, like, how do we get here?
That's a great question. So my mother is a Rastafarian, right? And for people who don't know about Rastafarianism, it's Ethiopian Christianity. So I grew up, my mother has never shaved. She's never wore makeup in my life. She's never had her ears pierced. So she lived a very strict lifestyle, but she didn't impart those beliefs on us, but we just adapted to them, right? So my mother only ate fish. So growing up, I would only eat fish like my mother. Now my grandmother was sneaking chicken and all that other stuff that we would eat when my mom wasn't home. But I literally adapted my mother's way of living, her lifestyle, everything. And now I'm having a full circle moment, because when I'm talking to you, I'm realizing that I'm literally my mother. My mother is a local celebrity. She's a musician on the radio. A lot of people know her, well respected, but I get that from my mother. So as I've gotten older, I said, I want to live like how my mother lives, right? So I can remember in 2007 when I decided to stop eating meat completely and really just focusing on fish, everybody said I was crazy. People said, like, girl, what's wrong with you? You black, why you, like they didn't understand, they couldn't correlate the idea of an African-American woman having a healthier lifestyle. So I made it cool, right? Even when it wasn't cool. And then throughout the years, I had a first restaurant. It was called Pinky's Jamaican and American Restaurant. And I just decided cold turkey to go vegan. And when I did that, that was the best decision that I've ever made in my life, because it did a few things. The first thing that it did is it gave me a level of clarity that is unmatched. You can't pay for that kind of clarity, right?
Right.
And then it also put me in position to be able to start what we now know and love as Slutty Vegan.
Yeah.
And I get to make money from a job that I love.
That you love.
And it's not a job first, it's something that I love to do. So that is kind of the story of veganism for me. And it's the best decision that I've ever made in my life, and I'll never go back.
I think our drinks are here, Pinky.
Ooh.
Finally.
Yes.
Ladies, please enjoy the Last Word cocktail. It's made with Patron Silver, Luxardo Maraschino cherry liqueur, and fresh chartreuse.
Thank you so much.
Let's take a cheers to success
Pinky.
and financial literacy.
Thank you so much.
Ooh, that's good.
Delicious.
Can I just tell you that I just had a baby? So this is one of my first drinks that I'm having since I had a baby.
Since then.
So I'm really going to chug it, but not on camera. Not on camera. Yes, it feels great.
So Pinky, you was telling us about your mom. I think anyone tuning in can tell that your level of confidence is off the charts.
Yes.
And as a business owner, especially when you begin to scale a business, we want to do a lot of things quick, but it's really hard to lose our confidence. So you were saying that came from your mother. Why? Because you watched her.
Yeah, I watch my mother every day.
Yeah.
My mother is staying with me now, and I realize where I get my confidence from. And confidence is a very clear and direct thing, right?
Yeah.
Confidence gets you indoors, right?
That's it.
Money don't get you indoors. It's confidence. All of the opportunities that I've ever gotten in my life is because I was so sure of myself. And there's a difference between cockiness and confidence. But having a level of confidence that you are sure about what you bring to the table, those are the things that'll get you in rooms. And I got that from my mom.
What's the difference, Pinky, for aspiring entrepreneurs or those that are entrepreneurs? What is the difference between cockiness and confidence? What would you say?
Well, you see it, right? When you think about humbleness, right, you think about being confident at the same time. I'm very humble, right? And that goes without saying. But I think that oftentimes certain entrepreneurs get to a certain level and they don't feel like they have to do the work, right? That's cockiness to me. But confidence is being humble and still doing the work and still understanding your worth and who you are and what you represent. It's a very clear and distinct difference. And you can see it in anybody. Like you can look at anybody and say, okay, that's confidence. Oh no, that's cockiness. But I like to focus on the confidence because the confidence will get you to the places that you dream about all of the time.
What is still doing the work, Pinky? How do you still do the work?
Absolutely.
Since the very beginning. Like
still doing the work.
Are you just on the outside looking in? You come check into your spaces, or are you literally like in the trenches still doing the work?
So in the trenches, absolutely not.
Okay.
As you begin to grow a business, especially in my situation where you're scaling, you have to come to a place where you use more of this and less of this, right? Okay. So this in the restaurant industry is flipping burgers and fries. And that's okay. But when you get to a certain point and you're growing and scaling your company, you cannot be an octopus and be at 10 million places at one time. Instead, you can use this and the thought leadership to be able to delegate to the people that you put in place to get you to the solutions that you need and get the results that you need, right? That's very important. So never taking your hand off the wheel is necessary. So for the entrepreneurs that are paying attention to this, making sure that you're always involved in some capacity, always leaving your hands on the ball. And the ball may not necessarily mean being physically present, but the ball can be knowing what's going on in your business, having the right relationships and positioning people in the right place. It's like playing chess, making sure that you're positioning people in the right place so that you can have the results that you want to.
So, but is it true? I know for me personally, when I was coming here to meet you, Bar Vegan is one thing, and maybe I want to test out the food, but I was also really inspired and excited to meet Pinky. So do people still want to meet you, or are they just fascinated with what you've created in the bar? I know for me, I wanted to do the food, but I wanted to meet Pinky because I wanted to learn how Pinky did this as an entrepreneur myself. And I've heard you talk so much about building a business that really feels good for people when they come into your spaces. How does it make you feel? Maybe the drinks are good, but I don't feel good here. The energy here is not where it's at. So why is it important for us to create businesses that really feel good for the people and our communities?
That's a great question. People want to feel good, right? I want to answer your question when people do ask to meet me. you don't go to, and obviously these are great businesses. They have built themselves up to be fantastic businesses. Some businesses in which I model, but like nobody's asking to meet the creative McDonald's, right? Nobody's asking to meet the creative Chick-fil-A because they have built a business for whatever reason they build their business. But for me, it is very necessary to build community around my business. So when you think about community, you think about people feeling good. I just want people to feel good. I want them to walk into my establishment and feel like it's a reflection of me, which is why I tell people all the time, if you ever listen to any of my interviews, like, it ain't about the money, right? It's about my name. I don't care if I don't got $1 in my pocket, but if my name is clean, that's all that matters. So as long as my name is clean and the name of my business is clean, and that means customer service, cleanliness, big energy, making sure that people have a good time when they walk through my doors, making sure that people talk about my business when they leave outside of my door. Those are the things that make people like, damn, I want to represent this business. I want to be a part of this growth and this empire. And those things are important to me. So when you look at Bar Vegan and you look at Slutty Vegan and all the other entities I've created, the emphasis is customer service and the experience. Creating something that makes people feel good. Because listen, I don't care if you're black, white, blue, yellow, green, orange. I don't care if you're old or young. You just want to feel good. We work this hard in our lives so we can feel good. What people say, they retire, so they what? They can relax and feel good. They vacation, right? That's what people want to do. So how can we translate that into the business? And how we translate that is making people feel good. And that's why people come back over and over again. And that's why the lines are always down the block.
Would you say that's the core of your business, Pinky, is making people feel good? Because one could say, there are a lot of business owners that give back. For the sake of, someone feels like Pinky gives back, but that's just a part of her business strategy to create a profit. So why is that so much at the core of you that in our entire conversation here, you've talked very little about money, even though we're talking about scaling a business? Why is that so much at your core? Because it's deeply rooted in you.
Because money ain't the motivation, right? Oftentimes, people think that if I create a business just to make money, I'm gonna be straight. But it's bigger than money. Like, why are you showing up in the world, right? I've always been like this. I got it from my mom. My mom and my dad are Jamaican. I literally seen my mother take the clothes off her back to help somebody else, even if it meant sacrificing us. But the reality of it is I've learned and absorbed how to like move with integrity, how to understand that like when you get the blessings, you share the blessings, and the blessings will keep coming back to you. So when we think about making people feel good, this is the umbrella. Under that feel good umbrella is community, it's philanthropy, it's customer service, it's strategy, it's all of that is under that one big umbrella. So if you don't have a level of social responsibility to your business, it'll never win. F the money, right? The money is going to come. If you do all of these things right, the money is going to follow you. And then when the money follows you, then you have the resources, and then you can use your platform to continue to do the work that we just talked about. It's a formula, and it's a very easy formula to follow. All you got to do is be clear and direct on your intention and why you created that business. One of the reasons why every single thing that I touch turns to gold is because I'm so authentic and real. I ain't faking nothing at all, right? How I am with you is how I am with a billionaire sitting at the table. I don't care who you are, what you got, what your heart say. Like who are you and what you believe in? That's what I care about. And I think that people see that, and it transcends over to all the businesses that I have.
Who you are at your core.
Who you are at your core.
Who you are at your core.
Absolutely.
And so for someone thinking about scaling a business, Pinky, and they never considered that first, maybe I did start a business just to make money. But when it comes to scaling, do you think I should step back a little bit to say, what is your intention?
So
what is your intention?
So I want to be very clear. Okay, money pays the bills. So I'm not saying that you don't need money. I'm talking to you. I'm not saying that you don't need money, because you need money to provide you the level of resources that you need so that you can continue to grow. What I'm saying is when you start a business, make sure that it's an intentional business, because then the money will follow. I'll give you an example. When I first had my first restaurant, I started that restaurant. I wanted people to feel good, but like money was heavily involved in it. Like I know that I could create this business, I can make money, but it wasn't in alignment with who I was. You understand that? So basically I was a vegan and I was selling jerk chicken. That wasn't real. And because it wasn't real, in 2 years that restaurant caught on fire and I lost everything. But now when I look back full circle, I needed that to happen because when I walked into Slutty Vegan, it was intentional. I like to feed my friends food and I like for them to try vegan food. Now I could feed all my my friends food and get paid to do it, right? And I'm helping people reimagine food in a different way. And that is the reason why these businesses are successful. So for the people who are starting a business, it's important to identify what your mission is, what your intention is. And then when you begin to scale, you've already identified what that intention is, right? And the money is going to follow, right? I tell people I'm a magnet to money. I don't got to look for it. It's going to come to me. So I do things intentionally. And when I do things intentionally, every single step of my life will happen the way it's supposed to happen because I have the pure intentions and the right mindset while I'm doing it.
Who you are on the inside shows up on the outside.
Absolutely.
That's how you get your blessings in return.
Absolutely.
Everyone heard that? Who you are at your core. Identify your mission, as Pinky told us, and then the money will come.
Absolutely.
Right? But how does this show up, Pinky, with your employees? So let's talk a little bit about systems that you've put in place when it comes to hiring. How do you focus on who to hire? Because those are the hard parts for people too.
Yes.
Like when we start thinking about scaling systems, hiring, can we talk about that a bit?
So I'll tell you a funny story. When I first started Slutty Vegan, I used to get all my people off Instagram.
Did you? They look like they'll work.
Listen,
they'll work.
You know why? Because all the people who supported me came from Instagram. So I said, I'm gonna meet the people where they at. I don't have to go on LinkedIn. I could just go to Instagram and find those people. Was that the most successful? No. But guess what? I tried it. And nothing beats a try but a failure.
Why wasn't it successful though, Pinky? Because I think a lot of people do that, especially entrepreneurs that are looking for like contractors. Why did that not work for you? Even though they supported you, so maybe you felt like they really are supporting my business. They dig it. They think it's dope. Why didn't it work?
So it worked for the moment, right? For the moment and where we were. And that's the beautiful thing about business. When you're in business, you're ever evolving, right? You're always evolving. So what might work today may not work tomorrow. So for that today, it worked. It worked because it was a new buzzing business. Everybody was talking about it. But what I personally realized is we live in a right now culture. So if you see something that's appealing to you right now, you're going to buy into it. That may not necessarily mean that you'll buy into it 10 minutes later, right? I had to create a space where there was people who genuinely just wanted to work for the business and have already researched the business, not just scrolling on Instagram trying to find it. And while it worked for me in the beginning, it just didn't work for where I'm going, right? Where I'm going is I'm scaling my business. My company is going to be $1 billion company. I believe that in my heart. And I put that in my mind every single day. And in order to get there, I have to get top quality talent. Is that a challenge sometimes? Absolutely, right? Because people always don't look like what they look like. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What they look like on the outside may not be who they are. Especially if who you are at the core is different from who they are at the core.
Absolutely.
And that's not to say we have to go as deep to find out who they truly are. But, you know, the saying is game recognize game.
Exactly.
So if that's who you are at the core and they're not, that changes things.
I'll tell you something else. When I interview people, I don't ask them nothing about work. At all. Like I let the money people do that. I let the operations people do that. I don't care about none of that.
Right.
I want to know, like, what's your character? Like, how many kids you got? Like, where'd you go to school at?
Right.
Like, what do you want to be in 5 years? I ask those questions because I can tell a lot about a person based on that.
Right.
Because I don't look for people who just want to get a paycheck because it doesn't serve me. I need people that are in alignment with my vision, and that vision is building an empire. So when I look for those people, we get really creative now on how we find people, right? We make campaigns within the business, and we like to promote within. So promoting within also incentivizes the people who help grow the company.
Right.
So if I promote you from within, now you're more vested. Not to mention, to be able to attract and attain employees, I now offer you phantom equity if you've been working at the company for at least 1 year. And for the people who don't know what phantom equity is, that is ownership, right? So that means that if you rock with me, I'm going to rock with you.
Got it.
If you help me to grow, I'm going to help you grow.
Right.
If one day, who knows, I decide to sell this company, you're going to have shares in my company because you showed a high level of investment into growing the business. And that and several other things help to incentivize people to want to come to the company and to stay. Is that probably one of the hardest things in the business right now? Absolutely. With COVID and the economic downturn and everything that has happened in our economy, it's difficult to get people to at least want to come to work. But we're creating an environment where it doesn't feel like a job. It feels like you're a part of something bigger than yourself, and that you'll be able to tell your kids and their kids and their kids about how you helped to grow something so special.
Pinky, do you still put your eyes on every employee that's hired through here, or do you now have a team that they do that part for you?
No, so I actually spoke to my whole team today. So we have monthly meetings. And again, I can't be an octopus.
Right.
My focus now is delegating.
Yes.
And making sure that all the people that I put in place are doing what's required to help grow the company. So I had several trusted people inside my inner circle, right, that helped me to run the business, because I'd be lying if I said that I sat here and did all of this myself. I don't.
Right.
What I focus more on is the narrative of the businesses, spreading the goodness of Slutty Vegan and Bar Vegan, talking about the philanthropic efforts of the business, and recruiting people at a high level to come to the business, and just really strategizing on how we can make the business better. Because again, we are the Facebook and the Instagram before they became what we know as Facebook and Instagram, right?
Yeah.
So we are at the ground roots level where every day might be something different. We come up with new policies and SOPs every single day, right? But the beauty of it is that we're growing. We're not stagnant. The company is growing at 160% year over year. So that just shows that we're doing something right. And in order to continue to do it right, we have to get the right people in place and being creative doing that. And we're getting there.
So let's talk about growth. Pinky, I just asked about, do you put your eyes on every employee that comes through here? You said no. How did you get to that point of scaling? Are there systems that all of us need to have in place as business owners so that we can take a step back and the business just can kind of operate, not actually on its own, but there are key systems in place?
Absolutely. So systems are very, very important. I had to learn this the hard way, right?
Okay.
So I'll be totally transparent. I'm a control freak, right?
Okay.
Like I got to have my eyes on everything. That is how I've always been all of my life.
Yeah.
A part of the reason why I probably have amassed this level of success, because I just always wanted to touch everything. Like I need to know what's going on, and I feel like I can make it better.
Right.
But I realized that could also be a deterrent. Right. So I used to physically work in a restaurant for 2.5 years, every single day, 10 to 16 hours every single day. I'm flipping burgers. I'm customer service. I'm talking to people. I'm standing outside. I'm taking orders. I'm doing everything. But guess what's happening? I can't run a business from the outside when I do that.
Right.
So in order for us to scale, I had to say, okay, all right, we got to put systems in place. We had to put systems in place that this business can run without me. And was that hard? Absolutely, it was hard. It gets hard some days too, because I'm like, okay, I got to trust the people that I put in place to do that, right? But what I realized is when it's time to scale, systems are key. So for example, the first thing we did is we went to a co-packer and got our sauce manufactured.
For those that don't know what a co-packer is, what is that, Pinky?
So a co-packer is somebody that takes your product and produces it at a mass level, right?
Got it.
So we got a co-packer to take our sauce that my brother actually made in-house every single day for 2.5 years.
Okay.
And we got a manufacturer to do that. So now he no longer has to make the sauce, right? Now the product is more consistent, right? Now we don't have to worry about quality control issues because we already know what the product looks, feels, and tastes like. That's the first thing. Secondly, what we did is we took everything that was a breaded product and we put it in a bag. So now I don't have to worry about so much labor and hiring a prep team to do all of these things every single day. Instead, I got a manufacturer that put it in a bag, and all we got to do is pour and add 3 cups of water, and voila. And the product still tastes the same, right? Lastly, what we done is we put together SOPs, right?
SOP is what, Pinky?
Standards and procedures, pretty much, right? So basically what that does is every single item that we make in the store, there's directions on how to make those items, right? So for example, we got a chicken sandwich. A chicken sandwich, first you got to put it in the fryer for 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, you got to put this amount of mayonnaise on it. Then you put your lettuce and your tomatoes. Basically, these are instructional guides on how to make these items so that it can be consistent across the board. Now that we've gotten all those things in place, also my fry seasoning. So our fry seasoning, we went to a manufacturer too. So now when we duplicate these stores and we go from Atlanta to Gwinnett to Alabama to Athens, Georgia, now they're going to get the same experience from the top to the bottom. One thing that we're focused on, which is a big opportunity to get better at, is to duplicate the culture. Right? How do you duplicate culture? It's impossible.
Right.
So we're making the impossible possible. And how we duplicate that is figuring out ways to make that experience the same everywhere you go. And what I mean is, if you've ever been a Slutty Vegan, we're going to yell at you. We're going to hug you. The music, right? The turn up, the party.
Right.
Now we're focused on duplicating the party. If we could duplicate the party, then we can scale this business, because people come to Slutty Vegan because of the party.
Right, because of the culture.
Because of the culture.
Yeah.
Slutty, and remember what I said early on in this interview, we just want people to feel what? Feel good. That's it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So because we do that, and when we do that, now we can scale this business and it could be all around the world.
Right.
And it's a simple formula if you're strategic about it. And it's just not restaurants, right? You can have SOPs and standard operating procedures everywhere you go, right? Whatever business that you're in. If it's real estate, if it's the beauty sector, whatever industry that you're in, if you create a system, your system can run without you.
Right. How did you move though, Pinky, from having your hands on everything? As you mentioned, you want to like see everything, have your hands on everything, to moving your products or food out to like manufacturers. Was that hard for you? Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that. Like they want to be part of every single part because they don't want to mess it up and they don't trust others with it. So how did you get beyond that?
The trust level.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. It was very hard to even be remotely okay with somebody knowing my recipe. It's probably at this point only 5 people in the world that knows my sauce recipe for Slutty Vegan.
Okay.
But I had to ask myself some tough questions. And as entrepreneurs, you really got to look in the mirror sometimes and say, like, what is it that you really want? Do you want to grow and scale this business and create impact and leave a legacy for your family? Or you just going to pussyfoot and bullshit around, right? You really have to ask yourself those hard, tough questions. And I had to say, you know what? I want to scale my business. I want this business to be something that children are going to read about in history books and believe that they can do it because they seen a Black girl that's thick, that's vegan, that got dreadlocks in her hair. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want people to see that. And in order for me to get to that point, I got to be okay with trusting certain people to do certain things.
That's it.
Now, I still got some trust issues. I'm going to be totally transparent about that.
Same here.
However, I had to get to a place where I say, you know what, as the CEO of this company, I have to make sound decisions in order for it to grow. And I'm so glad that I did it because now the manufacturer, they're one of our trusted partners. I trust them with anything now. I can say, hey, I got this idea to do it, and they execute it. Right. But they've proven their trust to me.
They've proven it.
Yeah, but I'm glad that I did it. And you know, it's ebbs and flows of business. Yeah, everybody goes through it, right? Yeah. It's so funny, and I'm telling you this, and I've never said this publicly. Yeah. It used to be me. Right now, I own 100% of my company, right?
Okay.
100%, free and clear.
Right.
And it used to be like, me. No. I don't need no strategic partners. But now I'm like, no, I need strategic partners.
Yeah.
I need people to help me go to the next level. Right. I can't do this by myself.
Yeah.
Right. I've grown through that box. I'm catching up with my business.
Right.
I'm reading and on YouTube and Google and learning things that I don't even know. Right. Yeah. So I understand that, like, in order for the company to grow, I have to get the right people in place. I have to trust the right people and be okay not being in control of every single thing so that my company can go where I needed to go.
So we talked about manufacturers, Pinky. What about other systems? Like, what about tech, data, email addresses? Is that important for us to try to like collect from our customers and clients as a business owner? Why is that important when we truly want to scale a business? Because right now, many people just use social media and, you know, reach out to me in your DMs.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I want to be clear that Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook are all valuable avenues to really promote your business. Yeah. People think that you need money for that. No, you don't. You can do it for free. You can literally use these platforms because they use us for data. Why can't we use them? Yeah. Right? We can use those platforms and really get whatever message we want out. You can literally be anything that you want to be online.
That's it.
Right? Yeah. So I've been able to utilize these technical apps, right, to my benefit by expanding the narrative of the business. And that's through direct messaging. That's through telling people about the business. That's through our awesome marketing team that is able to like educate people on veganism through the feel good movement that we have. Right. That's the first piece of it. I use community. And for the people who don't know what community is a text messaging app, right? Okay. Where you can directly speak to your consumer. So how I found out about community is through the Shade Room, because the Shade Room was like, text us. And I'm like, well, let me text the Shade Room and see exactly what it is. And then I realized that there was this organization that was in beta, right? And beta means that it hasn't launched yet. They're trying it out and tweaking it. And I'm like, I need to be a part of this. Come to find out, they were a new company, still building and growing. So I was one of the first people to be a part of the platform in beta. Right. So what I was able to do is I was able to grow my text messaging database from 0 to 22,000 in a matter of months. Yeah. So now I can talk to you directly. If you are one of my consumers and you text Slutty Vegan, I can say, hey, what you doing, Marsha? What you doing today? Come see me. I miss you. Yeah. But we had that relationship with our consumer that they feel like like it's really us. Like it's not a robot. It's somebody that I can really talk to. And that has benefited my business tremendously, especially if I'm doing giveaways. Like Chris Paul just bought out all of the restaurants. I sent a text message. I had about 2,000 people in line. Right. If I had to close my restaurant for any reason, I send a text message and everybody gets the memo. Right. Yeah. If I'm doing free giveaways, I just gave away 1,000 tickets to Kanye West concert. I put it on my community app, and now people have access in a different way from just social media. Right. And then not to mention, we use MailChimp. You can never go wrong with email marketing. Right. Email marketing, we have about 18,000 people on that email marketing, where we do a weekly newsletter where we educate people about the brand. We're hiring. This was happening in Slutty Vegan this week. But all of those avenues are really what helps to propel the business. The last piece of this is we have an app. And it's available on Android and iOS. And you can download that app on your cell phone, and you can incur points to be able to go to Slutty Vegan and utilize the points. So now we also have about 50,000 people on that app. So what that does is now people can go to the app, they can order their food, right? They can get their loyalty points, and it's a benefit to them when they get the loyalty points. So we use all of these avenues. I like to tell people Slutty Vegan is a marketing business first that's infused with tech. And then we sell burgers, fries, and pies. So there's so many things that we get to do through the business, and tech is one of those things that helps it to grow.
Pinky, let's get into scaling your business. First, how did you know when it was time to expand?
So I knew when it was time to expand when I couldn't meet the demand, right? So we talk about supply and demand, right? We had the demand, but we didn't have enough to supply. So it's like, okay, what do you do then? Because what happens is when you can't supply demand like that, then two things will happen. People will stop coming, or you'll start having inefficiencies in your business because you can't keep up. So I realized, okay, we're in a good place. We got these manufacturers to do this. We got these manufacturers to do that. All right, we're cool. We feel much better. Employees understand the culture. Okay, now we can take this brand to the next level and branch out and go to a different city, or we can go to a different state. And it was just right timing, right? It just felt good in my spirit. And I do this, and I'm not sure about any other entrepreneurs, but if it don't feel right in my spirit, I'm not doing it. I can't. So even when I go to locations and I look at locations to see if it'll be a good fit, for example, Bar Vegan that we're sitting in right now, I had to put my eyes on it, and it felt right in my spirit. If it didn't feel right in my spirit, I couldn't do it. So I knew at that time when it started to feel right and the demand started coming, I'm like, okay, we need to scale this business. It's time to grow, which is why Bar Vegan came about, because now this is another experience. You could get Bar Vegan and have a bar while you wait for us to continue to grow Slutty Vegans. This was just a tester concept, and now this is one of the most successful spots in the city.
So for those that don't understand what supply and demand means and what that meant for you, does that mean that the demand was there, but people came to the restaurant and you all were unable to service them? For those that may not understand what this supply and demand thing means.
Absolutely. You know how many people we had to turn away? The lines down the block. So many people, and it's a great problem to have. But in business, sometimes great problems turn into real problems. And if we've already built such a lucrative brand that people respect, we don't want people to be upset, because again, this is a business for the people. So we got to make sure that the people are satisfied. So that is where that scaling conversation came into place. And we're like, okay, are we ready? Let's do it. And do we have everything 100% down pat A1? No. But what business does? How many times you ever went to one of the biggest fast food restaurants and they get your meal wrong? Or they don't get it right, or they overcharge you? Like, businesses have room to grow, and we're in a really good place now where we're taking opportunities to make the business better, and we're scaling while we're doing it, and it feels so good.
I always like to say most great businesses stay in beta form forever, because you're always getting better. You're always growing. Would that be accurate? Would you think?
It's totally accurate. Every single day we get better. I just had a conversation this morning with my team. You know, everybody is responsible to bring their own black pants as a uniform. But I said, you know what? How can we get better? I'm going to sign up a service where everybody has to wear the same pants. Because again, this is systems that I'm creating. So in order for me to scale my company, I want everybody to look alike. Every day, all day. And on Fridays and Saturdays, you can wear whatever you want to wear, Slutty Vegan approved. But during the week, I want it to feel, look, taste like a quality experience every single piece of the way that you go when you come into Slutty Vegan. So that is just an example of just like putting those things in place to just make the business better.
So now we have our systems in place. How did you know when you were preparing for your second location? How did that financing happen? Did you like take a loan from your first business? Did you go to the bank? What did that look like for you? Because that can be scary for people, Pinky. You know, like now we're going to go get more money. Now I'm just in debt to my business. So now I'm working just to pay debt, just like our personal finances, right? So what did that process look like?
So Slutty Vegan has always been a cash flow business, right? We've done very well on cash flow. So the money that was made in the first location, we funneled it into the second location. So people don't know this, but I had 2 food trucks before I even had the brick and mortar.
You still have those?
Okay. Absolutely. So the food trucks actually paid for the first restaurant. The first restaurant actually paid for the second restaurant. And then we continued to build. I've never got bank funding to open up restaurants.
Did you just not want to do that at all, Pinky? Why did you want to use your own money?
Why did I?
Yeah, instead of just going
because I wanted to reinvest all the money in the business. When we got into a point where the business was really growing and now it's time to scale, we did get an injection of capital to be able to grow in the way that we want to grow. But as it relates to open up the first set of restaurants, because it's a cash flow business, we've been able to fund everything through the business. So like, yes, I'm the CEO of 2 multi-million-dollar companies, but I'm not out here like at the strip club throwing ones. No, I'm reinvesting all of my money back into the business because it's important for me to be able to leverage the business and take it to the next level. And that is very necessary. So for entrepreneurs who are listening to this, when you have a business and it's a startup, put the money back into the business, continue to grow the business, get the credit right of the business. And when you do that, then you have all the leverage, right? When it was time for me to take an injection of capital, I had the leverage because I had a healthy business because all of the money went back into the business. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. How do we know that we have a healthy business? Pinky, where do you get that information from? Maybe you're a financial analyst. I'm sure you have a team for it. But for those tuning in, how do I know if my business is healthy? Because we often see it, right? People do well in business. We turn to social media, we see them, like we said, turned up, spending money and whatever it may be. So how do we know if our business is actually healthy?
So there's a few things. The first surest way to tell is if you have cash flow. If you got money in the bank, if you pay all your bills. Right? And if your bottom line is positive and not negative, that's the second piece of it. And then if you can walk in anywhere you want and get whatever you want when you want it, then that just lets you know that your business is doing well because your business is healthy. So there's multiple ways to tell, but as long as you have a great accountant, and even if you can't afford a financial analyst, because I have both now. And I have both now because my businesses are now growing to a space where like I need those things. It's not one of those things like, all right, I don't need it right now. No, I need those things to be able to make sure that all the bills are getting paid. And when I say all the bills, I'm talking about sales and use tax. I'm talking about making sure my federal tax is paid, my taxes are done properly, making sure that like my permits, everything is good and paid, making sure I'm in compliance, because compliance is a whole nother ballgame for a healthy business. Right? When I had my first business, I wasn't in compliance. You know why I wasn't in compliance? Because they started garnishing my wages 2 years after the business closed. But I didn't have the right people in place to help me understand why you have to be in compliance in a business in order for it to be successful. So, you know, it's really easy to tell what a healthy business looks like. But here's the transparent part of me. It is hard to get a healthy business. Overhead is through the roof in a lot of businesses, right? Unless you got a business where you're selling corn and corn costs you 10 cents a head, and you don't have to pay nothing else, then you good. But like when you think about labor and you think about rent or your mortgage and you think about food, especially in the restaurant industry, that stuff really adds up. So you really gotta like be mindful of all the spending so that you can really see something on the bottom line.
Do you know of any other ways to leverage money or to get financing? Would you say if we have a credit line, or what other advice would you have for someone that may not be at your level, where they, you know, their money was real, you were really doing well very early on, but that's not them. What are some other ways that we could really get financing to help scale our business? Okay,
so I'm going to tell you the non-traditional way, and then a more traditional way, something that's more tangible. So the first piece of it is if you build it, they gonna come, right? If you build a valuable business that people just want to be a part of, you ain't got to ask for no money. People gonna be throwing money at you. And I did that with Slutty Vegan, right? Like I put all of my energy and my focus into building this crazy ass brand that when I built the brand, I had people knocking on my door. Marsha, let me tell you something. I get at this point, it's about 10 to 15 people per day that either want to invest in Slutty Vegan and Bar Vegan, or they want to franchise it, right? And that just tells me that I've done something right. We built a business that people want to be a part of. So if you are an entrepreneur and you know you got not a product, but a good story, because people think you got to have a good product and that's how you get the money. It ain't the product. Have a good story. Why do you want people to believe in you? What is it about your story and where you came from that will evoke some emotion that'll make people say, damn, like I just love this person.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of what they got going on.
Right.
Then you sell the product.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
So what I realized is in creating Slutty Vegan, people came to me because I created something great. So so that's the piece that I'll tell like a really hungry entrepreneur. If you really want to get that money, like create something so that people can be knocking on your door. The second piece of it is credit.
Okay.
Right? So, and I'm sure that you know a lot about this, right? So again, I'm not a credit guru, but I know that when you got good credit, credit is also key, right? OPM, other people's money, can get you the things that you need. Right. So for example, create an LLC. Put your cell phone in that LLC, right? And now it's a business phone. Pay your bill off for like 3 to 6 months. Once you pay your bill off for 3 to 6 months, pull out a line of credit. Pull out that line of credit and start buying items with that credit card and paying it right back. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to see that you're a responsible individual. And because you're responsible, then they're going to increase that credit limit. Then they're going to increase that credit limit. And then you're going to go to American Express and you're going to say, hey, I want to give me a credit card with no limit. They're going to give you a credit card with no limit. Continue to pay that off, buy stuff, pay it off, buy stuff, pay it off. And eventually you can have an unlimited credit with American Express to be able to fund the things in your business that you need. And now you ain't got to rely on nobody in the beginning, and you can build up your business. And then if you choose to one day want to get money from somebody, then now you got financial statements, right? To show in that bank account. You got the proof that you've been responsible on the money. So that is more of the technical way, but it's really not that hard. And I learned that. I'm talking about I'm in it. And it's really not that hard. And it may sound difficult. And it sounded difficult to me before I got here. But for the people who are serious about growing their own brand and growing a business, it's attainable and you can do it.
Why is it, Pinky, important, though, to reinvest? I know we went through this briefly, but why is it, especially early on, to reinvest your profits immediately back into your business? I would personally say because maybe you're doing good now, but maybe you won't be next year. So you want to constantly grow. Why was that so important to you, and why should it be important to all business owners?
It's important to me because when I think about growing a brand, they have this thing called like patient capital. When like people invest in you, they got to understand it's a patient capital. You're not going to make the money back right now, but you're eventually going to make it when you build a business. So for me, especially, it is necessary for me to be able to grow the brand and reinvest the money in the brand so that I don't have to worry about, okay, all right, I bought a car with the money this way, because then you look up, you never know what might happen. One day something may happen when you need a lump sum of money to be able to pay for something. But if you have that cash flow and all the money is dedicated to the business, then one, it's less stress on you. Two, you can focus on the business. And three, you will see that the business grows because of your discipline. I'll give you an example. Everything in Slutty Vegan especially is the same 7 transactions. Every single week. So I can look on my bank statement and say, okay, this don't look like what I'm used to. And we do that because we put all the money back into the business. I pay myself a paycheck. Right? As the CEO of the company.
Meaning what, Pinky? For those that don't know, you get a check just like anyone else that works here? Okay.
I get a check just like, I mean, I get paid more than the people, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm the CEO, but I pay myself a paycheck and I pay my personal name. I own Slutty Vegan, but I pay Pinky Cole. Right? And I pay myself because I'm also disciplining myself as well. So I'm living like I'm working for a company named Slutty Vegan, even though I know it. Even though I own it. But I do that because psychologically, I'm disciplining myself because I know one day I'm going to be on the beach butt naked with a Mai Tai. Right? I know that. Right? I could do that now. But I understand the level in which I want to live and the kind of freedom that I want to have and my family to have. It's going to require some level of discipline for me to get there. And that discipline looks like paying myself a paycheck. That discipline looks like I take PTO at my own company. You understand what I'm saying? Being disciplined and making sure that there's no willy-nilly. I don't even buy lunch on my business card. That's how disciplined I am. I don't buy lunch. I don't get gas on my business card. I get gas out of my earnings that I get. But it's about discipline and making sure that all the money goes back into the business. And again, it's a cash flow business, so we're doing well. I don't have to do that, but discipline will take you to the next level. And that's in every single area of your life.
How did you develop that discipline? Or is it because what you just said, you have a vision for what freedom looks like for your family?
Absolutely.
That's what drives you.
Listen, I can remember I was working at a job in New York City. And I always challenge myself. Like right now, I'm drinking a gallon of water a day. Right? Like I'll fast. I'll eat 1 meal a day and just fast for a period of time. I'll do a water fast. But when I was living in New York, for a month, I said, you know what? I'm going to live off $5 a week. Marsha, I'm not lying to you.
I do that too, Pinky. I thought it was crazy. Like for several years, I would do like $25 a week.
Yes.
And people would be like
people thought I was crazy.
Me too. Like that's not frugal, Marsha. That's cheap. And I'm like, no, if you want to live a different type of lifestyle, why buy what I don't really need?
Yes. Listen, let me tell you, as much money as I make, I still wear tights and a t-shirt. Like I don't care about material things. That's not what I care about. Yeah. What I care about is really going to change the world.
Right.
So I would live off $5 a week because I was working as a television producer, and we would get food if you stayed at work till after 8 o'clock. So the people who left before 8 o'clock, I'm like, hey, just stay like 5 minutes. Let me take your food. Right. Yeah. I didn't need to do that at the time. I was making $2,000 a week.
Right.
But that level of discipline just showed me that I can have all the things that I want in my life as long as I put my mind to it.
Right.
And that's what entrepreneurship is,
it really
right?
Is.
If you put your mind to something, you can attain whatever it is. People tell me like, I can't be vegan, it's hard. No, you ain't put your mind to it. It's just like brushing your teeth, waking up. Right. So I say all that to say, and I know I'm rambling, but like these are the gems that are important to get to the level of success that you want to get to in your life. And I'm still not nowhere where I want to be, right? Because I believe so much high of myself that I got a long way to go, and I'm okay with that journey.
Do your employees get all of this from you? Like, do you teach them, guide
the first Mondays of every month? Yes.
At the meetings. At the meetings.
Yes, they do. But my team gets that too, right?
They get that too, yeah.
I'm hungry all of the time.
Right.
Like if you ain't got this energy and passion around me, you either going to be inspired or you're going to fall apart.
That's it.
Because I'm going to encourage you to be better. Like you can't be weak around me.
Right.
Like I want you to win, and I'm going to make sure that you win. And if you don't want to win on your own, then you just can't be around me.
I got it.
And everybody knows that.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's recap, Pinky, okay? We talked early on about figuring out the core of your business. Mm-hmm. Why is that important for those tuning in? The core, beyond money.
It's about the ethos of it all, right?
Okay.
It's about making sure that you've created something that will not just benefit yourself and your pockets, but it'll benefit the people who are directly affected by what you have to offer.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's Slutty Vegan in the community. It's Bar Vegan in the community. People can benefit off the money that I'm making in the community. That's through my foundation and through all the things I do. That's paying local rents, right? That's making sure that the family of Rashard Brooks had a car, life insurance, and scholarships to college. That's making sure that people had lights in Atlanta. Myself and Derek Hayes, we just did a life insurance initiative where Black men could get life insurance if they pay, if they make $30,000 or less. But things like that, that is directly supporting the community from the money that Slutty Vegan and Bar Vegan makes.
Right.
But making sure that you have an intention on what the core of your business is, and the fact whether it's helping people, helping animals, whatever you helping, doing something that's bigger than you is really going to help grow you within and grow your business.
Then we talked about figuring out when and how to start expansion. So one more time, how do we know when it's time for us to scale?
You're going to feel it in your gut first.
Okay.
And then after you feel it in your gut, making sure that you got your systems in place secondly. And when you got your systems in place, then you'll know when it's time to scale, especially if you have a high demand and you cannot supply that demand.
When we are reinvesting money back or profit back into our business, what would you say are the top things we need to start investing in first? Technology, computers, hiring, what would you say that is?
Technology and team. Technology because you capture data. Data is more important than money because if you got their phone number, you're always going to have money, right? What I say, technology, and I said
teams.
And teams, sorry.
And teams.
The next piece of it, technology and teams. The next piece of it is teams. If you have the right people in place, it'll make your job a lot easier. Okay. If you got somebody that's just as hungry and just as driven as you, then you don't have to work as hard. And that's what we call working smarter, not harder.
Right.
So those two things are necessary, teams and technology.
Teams and technology. Everybody hear that? So I'm inspired. I'm ready.
Yes.
Give us a challenge, Pinky. For everyone, we need homework. You talked about what's at your core. I also think it's very important. Who are you as a person, deep down inside, beyond just profit? Give us some homework, a challenge for us, for those that are considering scaling their business.
Oh, so I have a couple of challenges, and my challenges might not be the most technical challenges.
It's okay.
But let me tell you what I challenge myself to do, and people can take this. Every time I see a penny, I pick it up. Okay. Every single time.
Yeah.
You know why I do that? Because it keeps me humble. And that challenge alone helps you to identify with yourself like, okay, you're growing and you're building, but always stay humble. That's challenge number one.
Okay.
Challenge number two, I have a ghetto bank account. Do you know what that means?
Yeah. What? Tell us about that.
A ghetto bank account is a big jar at home that all of my loose extra change, and I don't have to do that. I got stocks, I got bonds, I got brokerage accounts, I got all of that stuff. But having those kind of things at home, every time I have loose money, I just drop it in. I just drop it in. It'll add up. And now you don't even got to never count it. But imagine if you do that for 5 years. And granted, this piece of it is not growing interest. Obviously, have your other things that grow interest. But this is just a safety reminder that I'm always be good.
Right.
Always be good. And then the last piece is what I talked to you about the credit thing. Open that LLC. Okay. Get that bank account. Focus on your credit and pay off your credit. If you got credit card debt, the minute that you come up with a bag, pay that debt off. Okay. When I came up on my first bag, my student loans was about $270,000. And my mother was a co-signer. You know what I did? I think her name was Sally or something. Mm-hmm. I called her up and I paid that off in one instance. And you know that was the best feeling in the world? Sure. It was the best feeling because my mother said never in her lifetime did she think that something like this would ever happen in her life. That's number one. And number two, it boosted my credit immediately. So now I got buying power. I can get whatever I want. And if you got good credit in America, you can literally get all the things that you want. So paying off that debt and utilizing the things around credit so that you can be able to financially put yourself in position so that you can win, whether you're working for somebody else or you're working for yourself.
Thank you, Pinky.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
This is so amazing. Yes. So amazing.
Thank you so much.
So again, thank you to Pinky and Bar Vegan for having us. Pinky, again, so much information, so much knowledge. I am personally inspired. I really appreciate it. Tell everyone where they can find you. Maybe they can get to pick up some of these good gems I got today.
So if you are looking to get more information about all things Pinky Cole, you can go to our social media handles. Mine is Pinky907. Our foundation page is Pinky Gives Back. You can go to our foundation website, www.pinkygivesback.com. Or if you'd like to learn more about Slutty Vegan and Bar Vegan, you can go to www.sluttyveganatl.com or www.barveganatl.com or our Instagram and social media handles, Slutty Vegan ATL and Bar Vegan ATL. Or you can come to a city near you and find out about our lovely locations. Thank you all for tuning in to Stocks, Bonds, and Cocktails. Make sure you follow 2190 on your favorite social platforms. And be sure to visit 2190.com where you can find all of these incredible cocktail recipes and more. Check it out. I'm Marsha Barnes, and this has been Stocks, Bonds, and Cocktails. Cheers.